everybody. It's Allie, and welcome to our Y&R Chat for Sunday, August 16th, 2020. We're back! We are back! And it feels good to be back, doesn't it? I'm surprised by how good the show actually looks. Honestly, there were only maybe a handful of moments when I even realized that we were looking at a post-coronavirus world production, and I was looking for it. I was trying to find all of the cracks, and it actually looked pretty good. Y&R's first week back was much less noticeable on the production side than The Bold and the Beautiful's first week back, so I'm assuming that the Y&R learned some things from The Bold and the Beautiful, and they incorporated them. I think Y&R also has the benefit of big sets. So Y&R was using their big sets and using their real life couples too. We had plenty of Devon and Elena smooching up on each other, and I couldn't help but notice where Sharon's house, at the scene with Nick and Adam and Sharon, there was a scene where Nick came into Sharon's house. He was standing close to the door, plenty far away from everybody else, but Adam was standing well within 6 feet of distance from Sharon. He was able to move in real close to Sharon. No social distancing required. Oh. Y&R has a lot of good things going for them that I think are going to help them through this. I just hope that our actors who don't have real life partners aren't pushed into the background in favor of, the actors who have real life partners who are also on the screen with them. I don't want to see Devon and Elena and Adam and Sharon all the time. I think that would be unfair to the other characters and the other actors who want to work. I am a little worried about Abby and Chance. I read an article that said that Abby and Chance are going to have a fight next week, and also that Abby and Chance are apparently a very unpopular couple, and that kind of makes me wonder if Y&R is planning to break them up to potentially bring on Melissa Ordway's real-life partner, who also just so happens to be a former soap star, maybe just so that some more lovemaking scenes can happen with no social distancing required. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't want a character to be with another character just because the actors are together in real life. Personally, I don't mind the camera trickery that Y&R used this week for the other lovemaking scenes that weren't between real life partners. There were 2 kisses that had to be faked this week, and it wasn't all that bad. There was one between Phyllis and Nick and one between Abby and Chance, and we just saw one of the characters like moving in for the kiss and then going out of the frame just to imply that it was all happening. It was just like and then it moved out of the frame, and then everything kind of was implied off screen, and it didn't bother me. That was perfectly fine for me. I mean, for now at least. I don't know how I'll feel about it in a couple of months. There were also a couple of other little things that I noticed that had to be faked to create the illusion. I noticed at Society and at the Grand Phoenix that there were no extras walking around in the background. There were just empty restaurants with the soundtrack of a crowd being played over the scene, and it was clear that the camera was using some tighter shots, so no other tables were in view, the bar wasn't in view, you just got the illusion that there were other people at the restaurant. I think the Y&R director and film crew are geniuses for all of the creative ways this week that they filmed those scenes from different angles and just made that extra 6 feet of space disappear. Overall, I'm just really impressed. I'm really impressed by how seamless it was. But what I want to know this week is, what do you think of the post-corona production value? That's our poll question. Do you think that it looked good? Did you hardly notice a difference at all? Did you notice it, but whatever, you can live with it? Or did you completely hate it? Go to yrchat.com this week. That is our poll question to get the beat on how we feel about this production value, and also to get some comments on how you feel about this new production value in this new world that we're living in. I loved Lily and Billy's interviews in ChancePARK for ChanceCOM. That's new. Chancellor Communications has now become ChanceCOM, you know, to make it shorter and therefore hipper. ChanceCOM. Does Chancellor work there? Does Chancellor work at ChanceCOM? And if so, then we need to see it, and if not, why not? Oh, I thought Lily and Billy's interviews were a really clever way to frame a flashback show, a catch-up episode, to bring us back up to speed on the lives of our Genoa City citizens where last we left off. On Monday, tuning into the show, I felt genuinely comforted just seeing some faces that we haven't seen in a while, and also seeing the faces of our legacy characters in real time. I mean, after having seen them through the years, it was really comforting to see them today. I said it last week and I'll say it again. I was always less concerned with how the show would look coming back into production, and more concerned with how the show was being written now. The thing that really annoyed me this week, far and above any of the social distancing, far and beyond and above Nikki's hair, if you can even believe that, the thing that really bugged me this week were all of the cheesy reference lines to life in Genoa City. Like during Nikki's ChancePARK interview, where she said, well, you know, nostalgia is nice, but Genoa City has never been a sleepy little town. Okay. The first part of that line is fantastic. Nostalgia is nice, but that's perfect. It sums up the past 14 weeks perfectly. Nostalgia is nice, but then they ruin it by adding, Genoa City has never been a sleepy little town. Ugh. Yuck. And then in that exact same episode on Monday, during Jack's interview in the park, he said to Lily, I don't know what's next for Genoa City, but it's sure to be explosive. Did a 10th grader write that? It is so tacky. Who would ever say that about their hometown? I don't know what's next here in Louisville, but it's sure to be explosive. While we were all on coronavirus break, Phyllis went to bigbones.com and ordered herself up a couple of big bones. I have been waiting 14 weeks to find out where we were in the bone saga, and it was all worth it. The moment that Amanda pulled out that big bone from the box and looked at Phyllis like, what in the hell are you doing with this? And where can I get a bone of this size? It was all worth it. That bone came express delivered to the Grand Phoenix Hotel, probably addressed to Phyllis herself so that it's easily traced back to her. I mean, wait, can you actually order big old dinosaur bones online? How much does that cost? I don't know. It doesn't matter. Who am I kidding? Money is no object. Phyllis promptly skipped on over to Abby's construction site in broad daylight and used her bare hands to dig a shallow grave. Totally destroyed her manicure to get these bones into the ground. You know, I have been waiting since April to complain about the ridiculousness of this bones story. But you know what? That was before I watched 14 weeks of Phyllis and her other ridiculousness in these classic episodes. Honestly, Phyllis burying dinosaur bones at Abby's hotel construction site is no more ridiculous than Phyllis burying a dead octopus in Paul and Christine's honeymoon bed. So you know what? Okay, dinosaur bones. Okay, I accept you. Do your job. Create hijinks for Abby. All right. Phyllis didn't even need the bones. She's got Nick. Nick actually came up with a rational plan that would save them both from humiliation. Nick sensed that Phyllis was up to something boneheaded. So he arranges a meeting with Abby to strike a deal. He offers her one of the many, many buildings in his vast real estate portfolio for free so that she can have that building and stop building across from the Grand Phoenix. He even offers to cover the costs of construction that she's already started across the street from the Grand Phoenix. And she better take this deal. I gotta tell you, first of all, Genoa City cannot sustain two luxury hotels right across the street from each other in this economy. And second of all, like all of that screeching noise in the background of every scene at the Grand Phoenix is making my brain cringe. I really thought that we were going to come back to the show and there would have been some sort of time skip. I really expected that we would be picking up in Genoa City 4 months from now, but no, we picked up right where we left off. And in fact, Sharon had just gotten home from her surgery. I assumed when we came back, we were going to have her cancer prognosis. I don't know why. I just figured that we were going to have an answer, but no, we just jumped right back in to Sharon getting home from her surgery, home to the arms of her loving family, and a celebration, with a feast of foods to celebrate. Sharon likes curly fries. That is awesome. Me too. It's just helpful to know that Sharon likes curly fries and that she can eat them and then expose her stomach in a couple scenes later and just looks so good. She ate all that food and still looks so good. I'm pretty sure that all of that was a pre-coronavirus episode, something that they had in the can, because there was a whole lot of social non-distancing going on there, especially between Sharon and her children, hugging and holding hands and eating pizza next to each other. Oh, yeah. I was really moved by Sharon's private conversation with Mariah, confiding to Mariah that she feels really unsettled now to see her own surgery scars. And then, as an extra added layering of anxiety there, she feels really uneasy for Ray to see them. Sharon doesn't know what her breasts are going to look like, what her breasts are going to feel like now. And it is scary to think that a part of you is changed and that you've had no control over it. The feeling of having no control over your own body is terrifying, and I could really relate to that. But, of course, Mariah is very quick to remind Sharon that she is as beautiful as ever, and I have to agree. I mean, Sharon looked better than ever. She looked fresh and young, and the whole faux no makeup look that she had going on made her look incredible. I don't know how much longer Sharon's gonna be sticking with the cancer story. Victoria stopped by to visit with Sharon this week. I had completely forgotten that they're cool now, by the way. I was like, wait a minute, don't they hate each other? No, that's right, they're kind of friends. But Sharon mentioned to Victoria that she still has a ways to go before she gets her test results, and also she's going to be going back for another round of chemo in the coming weeks. But I just feel like Y&R is going to start socially distancing themselves from Sharon's cancer. I mean, I guess they've been doing that all along. But I just feel like Sharon is going to be declared cancer-free sooner than we think. I'm just guessing that Y&R is going to want to pull out of this storyline so that Sharon can be used to have some more intimate contact with Adam. I just find it so hard to believe that after going through cancer treatments and after having cancer surgery, that Sharon gives two craps about finding out that Nick is in a relationship with Phyllis or about anything that's going on with Adam. This bugs me. Sharon needs to be more focused on finding herself a suitable post-surgery bra than anything that's going on with Nick or Adam. I could see right through Sharon's white thermal shirt that she was wearing on Friday. Sharon Case loves those muffin top bras. You know, those bras where your boobs just like puff out over the top of them like it's a muffin rising up out of its tin. Well, she loves those things. Those push-up bras are real great, though. If what you're doing is getting ready to have a lovemaking scene where your clothes are about ready to get ripped off, but Sharon just got home from having a breast lumpectomy, would it be too much to ask to put her in a full coverage bra? Just to add a smidge of realism to this whole spectacle? Adam has been busy this entire time, combing through boxes, desperate to find some evidence to contradict Victor's claim that he killed a man as a young boy. Adam simply cannot conceive of himself as being bad to the bone. Just hold on, you guys. I got tons of bone jokes coming up. Just buckle up. Adam Newman, bad to the bone. Chelsea pays a visit to Victor this week to ask him about the whole thing, and Victor's like, no, girl, it's true. So, after months and months of hating Victor and encouraging Adam to overthrow Newman Enterprises, Chelsea now just instantly believes Victor and even thanks him for loving his son so much that he would keep this secret to protect him. Okay, I guess Chelsea just knew in her bones that Victor was telling her the truth about Adam. She didn't trust what her husband was saying, but she just knew in her bones that Victor was right. Well, Adam decides to do some more investigating on his own now that Alyssa has left town. So he invites the farm's longtime caretaker to Genoa City under the guise of a weekend getaway, which is really rude, to be honest with you. Bringing George to the big city, thinking he's about to be wined and dined on the Newman dollar after Victor quietly defunded the farm years ago, let the whole place go into disrepair, and all Adam wants to do is bring this guy to town to pump him for information. Some vacation. Some weekend away. Maybe George needs to check in with Phyllis so she can help him create his perfect staycation. The escape of his dreams. Something to reward him for his trouble. I don't know if y'all know this, but George is my uncle. Maybe you can see the family resemblance. We're both from the Midwest, and we both like to wear flannel sometimes. That's how you know George is from Kansas. He walked into the scene wearing flannel, and I don't know why that stereotype bothers me as much as it does, but it does. Yes, we here in the Midwest sometimes wear flannel, but so does every other hipster in the country. But I gotta appreciate that Uncle George took it one step further. He threw a fishing vest over the flannel shirt. He was really giving me a Murphy vibe there. Are there any rich old ladies who we can hook my Uncle George up with? Well, at first, George was completely offended by Adam's guys luring him to town under the guise of a vacation and then pumping him for information. But then he changed his tune on a dime after realizing that Adam loves his son. Wow, okay. Adam loves his son, so I guess he deserves to know the truth about how his father loves him. Makes sense. So George tells Adam everything. Tells him that everything Victor told him was true. Adam killed A.J. Montalvo with his bare hands at the ripe young age of 11 years old. And Victor covered it all up, kept it a secret, because he was protecting Adam, because he loves Adam. This entire time, Chelsea's hanging out in the background with this pained look on her face. Like, what is this information, this revelation going to do to Adam? And what's it going to do to my relationship with Adam? Adam is going to have to do some soul searching over this. And who better to help him do it but Sharon? Adam's really going to need Sharon's professional help now. Yes, Sharon, Adam's ex-wife, who is recovering from cancer right now, but Adam didn't even know that because they've barely exchanged 2 words this year. And Chelsea was looking pretty out of nowhere nervous in that preview that we saw for next week. Adam was insisting that Sharon is the one who has to help him recover these lost memories. And Chelsea is scoffing at the idea that Sharon has to be the one to do it. Chelsea's seeming real insecure about Sharon all of a sudden. Wonder why. I don't blame her. This is not good for Chelsea. This is not good for Ray. Look, if Sharon decides that helping Adam will help her, if she thinks it will help her to focus on somebody else's problems right now, then okay, that makes sense from Sharon's perspective. But I don't want to leap into an Adam and Sharon romance right now simply because of the fact that Sharon Case and Mark Grossman are a real life couple. I mean, you gotta sell me on Sharon and Adam again, not just sell me on Sharon and Mark. What happiness or help or healthiness has Adam brought to Sharon's life since he returned to town as Spider? None! Y&R did a terrible job of writing that reunion. All Adam ever did was have sex with Sharon, ruin her perfectly good relationship with Ray, and then get super aggressive about marrying her. And then when she said no, he pulled away from her completely, never said another word to her, and tried to erase it all by saying, oh, it was Chelsea all along. No, 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 no. I am in the exact same place with Adam and Sharon that I was a year ago. I'm not opposed, fundamentally, to an Adam and Sharon reunion, but if Y&R's wanting me to get to Adam and Sharon anytime soon, they're gonna have to put in some real work. Sharon is the love of Adam's life. No, Chelsea's the love of Adam's life. No, wait, it's Sharon again. I don't think that it was any of Nick's business to be butting up into Sharon's life, throwing Adam out of her house on Friday, but at the same time, I was kind of glad that he did. We were just talking last week about Jack and Adam's missing relationship. Where did that closeness go? And then on Thursday, Jack sits down with Victor to check in on how father and son are doing. I appreciate the tie-in. That was great. It would have been nice maybe, though, to see Jack having a heart-to-heart with Adam. Or maybe see Adam seeking some advice from Jack as if he were a father figure. I think maybe it's been since Jack's own son has been on the show that we've seen less of Jack and Adam. Because Kyle is still holding the reins at Jabot while Jack is focused on Dina. He's wanting to put most of his attention toward Dina's life. I thought it was an excellent conversation that Jack had at Society with Kyle and Summer, where they were talking about the transition from needing your parents into your parents needing you. It's such a sad but true circle of life. Again, though, I really thought that when we came back to the new shows, there would have been some kind of implication that some time had passed. And so when Jack was giving his interview in ChancePARK, I thought he was going to reveal at the end of that episode that Dina had passed away. I mean, this would be some easy timing for Y&R to quietly let Dina go. But Y&R probably didn't want to start back to production giving viewers some heavy material like the death of an elderly person who's in nursing care. So instead, Y&R picked us back up with Dina, still despondent in some mystery room of the Abbott house, but they've kicked up a brand new mystery. Dina has something she wants the Abbott family to know, and it's one word. Bixby. Bixby. Is it a person's name? Is it a long-lost other child of Dina's? Or perhaps it's just Dina's long-lost French poodle? Nope. It's not a poodle. No. It's not even Bixby, suckers. It's Bixby, the name of the old Abbott camcorder. What does Dina want us to see on this old camcorder? Gee, all right. Oh, yay, another Dina mystery. Hey, here's an idea. I'd way rather see Dina than talk about Dina putting together the pieces of her life, like finding a key one week that leads to a safe deposit box the next. And then weeks later, we find the safe deposit box has a picture inside of it, and there's a mystery man in the photo. No, where this mystery needs to go is to a twin twist. Dina's long-lost twin sister. That's what needs to be at the end of this road. The fans want Marla Adams. And it is too late to pull out of the Alzheimer's story. But it is not too late to pull some stunt that keeps a really great actress on the show. I have a fabulous new ad campaign idea for Chancellor Communications. It goes like this. I don't know what's next for ChanceCOM, but it's sure to be explosive. What do you think? You like it? It's really creative. It's really original, I think. Well, hey, now that Theo is up in the mix, I think there is actually a chance that ChanceCOM could be explosive. Theo plus Billy working at the same company equals trouble. Delightful trouble. Jack and Theo ran into each other this week, and they buried the hatchet over the hatchet job that Theo did on Jack's 15-year-old marketing pitch. And they agreed that even though Theo is not working as Jabot anymore, that he is still part of the family, and he should still stop by the house to visit Dina. Good. So Jack and Theo made up. And Theo gained a new fan in Uncle Billy. Theo slipped a note right into Billy and Lily's society takeout bag like the hustler he is. Next thing you know, boom, he's got a job interview. So Theo has his foot in the door at ChanceCOM, working with Billy, Lily, and Amanda, who officially took the job there. And hopefully in the near future, it's going to be revealed that Tracy has decided to take the job offer there too. Because I think we're going to need another sweet, smart lady to keep these unruly guys in check. Oh, and then would it be too much to ask to add Kane into this mix too? Can we bring him back in and make him work at ChanceCOM? Because I had a dream about Kane last night, and it was wonderful. One of my absolute favorite scenes of this week was Kevin and Esther rotating around each other at a safe distance at the Chancellor Mansion. That scene was well written, well blocked, and well performed. I have so much more appreciation of Esther coming out of the classics, and Y&R gave her some thoughtful material this week. She was talking to Kevin about the regrets that she has when it comes to her child, that she never gave her child a good father. And I just thought it was really moving the way Esther was commenting on her transition of life, the stage of life that she's in. You go from being a mom where your kid always needs you to then realizing that they're grown up and your kid doesn't need you, and suddenly you have all of the time in the world to sit around and mull over the mistakes that you made. That is so real. We've talked a lot about the different stages of life this week and the different stages of parenthood, and I thought there was really some cool observations going on in the dialogue there. You don't just stop being a parent because your kids are grown, is what Esther was saying. And what Jack was saying is you don't stop being someone's child just because you grow up. Those were some really good conversations that I thought connected into each other very well. And then we have on the other end of the spectrum, Kevin, who's currently going through the parenthood stuff, and he was talking about his fears of fatherhood, particularly when it comes to raising a son, because of his own terrible father who was abusive to his son. Yes, obviously Kevin is already a father. Bella is his child, but fathers and sons do have a different dynamic than fathers and daughters. And I would like to continue to see Kevin working and talking his way through that. Greg Ricart looked really good, by the way. Greg Ricart had coronavirus, as did Jordi Villasuso, who plays Ray. But I believe that Jordi said he had a milder case in his household. He didn't get hit the worst, whereas Greg Ricart, who plays Kevin, really got walloped by the virus. I think physically and mentally it took a really big toll on him. So it was good to see him back on his feet. And I, of course, noticed that Chloe was mentioned but not seen in that scene, probably because Elizabeth Heinrichsen gave birth to her baby over the shutdown. She gave birth to her child in the middle of all of this. So she's on maternity leave right now, and she probably also needs to be extra safe with her around her little one. I'm thinking that if memory serves, Chloe announced her pregnancy sometime around Christmas 2019. So we've still got a ways to go if indeed there's no time skips. So I'm kind of wondering if maybe Y&R will end up giving Kevin and Chloe a Halloween baby this year for 2020. A Halloween birth seems somehow appropriate for those two, doesn't it? Nate is looking extra good to me this week. I'd like to jump his bones. Ooh, he's such a nice looking man. And he's got this real smooth way about him. He actually reminds me a little bit of Malcolm, just in the demeanor, like, yeah, smooth. But Nate has none of the personality of Malcolm. I mean, when is Y&R going to give Nate a soul? Hey, I'm happy that Amanda put down her phone for long enough to finally give Nate a chance this week, but Nate needs more than a girlfriend and a lab coat to make him human. I need to know who he is personally. I want to know what his tastes are, what his hobbies are, what makes him tick. He's a pretty face, but I want and need him to be more than just a pretty face. Like how Neil loved jazz music. It wasn't always a part of his character. It was something they brought on later. And even though I don't know anything about jazz music, when Y&R added that piece of information to Neil's personality, it made him more human to me. It made him more relatable to me. Oh, well, while we were away, Devon just awarded the very first Neil Winters scholarship for business studies. Try to say that a couple times in a row. The Neil Winters Scholarship for Business Studies. It sounds like a fake thing, which it is, but it's also amazing. I love it. It would be nice to see that in person, wouldn't it? The Neil Winters Scholarship for Business Studies. I would like to see the recipient of that. Maybe with a ceremony or something. Maybe with Amanda right there by Devon's side to present it, since they were big time connecting over, foster care and growing up and education and all of that this week. Oh, I can't wait to see what happens with this little quadrant. Amanda, Nate, Devon, Elena. Can you believe that Elena already has babies on the brain? She is loving up on Devon so hard right now. And then she makes a comment to Nate about how both Nate and Devon would make really good fathers. Well, now the soap opera fan in me wants to speculate that Elena is feeling drawn to Nate and that they're going to have a new hope hump on one of the exam tables in the coming weeks, and then Elena will become pregnant and she won't know which good father is her baby's father. That's what the soap fan in me is anticipating. But I think Y&R is 100% just messing with us by suggesting anything more between Nate and Elena. Devon and Elena are here to stay. And I think that Elena only made that comment to Nate about babies because she's thinking a lot about families and babies right now. But with Devon, I think that's where her head is. But would it be too much to ask to maybe get a wedding first? Can we maybe have a wedding before we get to thinking about babies? I think a wedding would be just the thing to brighten up Genoa's city right now. I mean, we will be one of the only soaps right now to be able to, when the minister says, you may now kiss the bride, we wouldn't have to do any tricky camera angles to work around it. Man, oh man, the website got flooded this week with comments, which you guys never saw, about Nikki's bad hair. Y&R fans that I have never heard from, never found, don't know who we are, don't know who I am, nothing. Just found YRChat.com and they flooded it with comments in varying degrees of hatefulness about Nikki's bad hair. It was ridiculous. Nobody was coming out of the woodwork to talk about any of the storylines, but Nikki's bad hair was all the talk of the internet. Yeah, it was bad. I saw it. Everybody saw it. How could you not see it? But then as soon as I realized that Y&R fans at large were like dogpiling on her as if she had committed a crime, I felt so terrible for her. Like, if I'm all of a sudden seeing all these hateful comments coming out of the woodwork, which again, I instantly deleted, you didn't see. But if I'm seeing all that, what is Melody Thomas Scott seeing on all over her social medias and whatnot? Melody Thomas Scott is 64 years old, for crying out loud. Can we give her a break? She has had a hair and makeup team professionally, like probably surrounding her for most of her adult life, and now she's not getting any help because of the coronavirus and the social distancing. So I'm sure she did the best that she could. I mean, shoot. As you get older, your hair gets thinner, you know, and the more you dye it, and the more you mess with it, and the more you treat it, the more damaged it gets. So she probably normally has some kind of hair pieces or extensions or something to make it look fuller and healthier. And hair extensions and hair pieces are not just something you can necessarily do DIY. So, all right, she popped on a wig. She did the best she could. Damn! You should have seen it. You should have seen it, you guys. But Nikki wasn't the only one with bad hair. I mean, Michelle Stafford's hair looked pretty flat. It wasn't good. And I saw an article this week too that Michelle Stafford announced that she's going to leave her social media account. She's going social media quiet now because she was just getting tired of everyone dogpiling on her for various reasons. Yeah. People are freaking vicious, and they are extra miserable right now, and they are just looking for a place to get out some of this angst. And, you know, people online and celebrities in general is just a convenient target to put it on. And I feel for them. Like, imagine you do your job. I mean, acting is a job like any other job. They come in, they go home, they kick back on the couch. Imagine you're doing your job, and then because of your job, you get personally attacked everywhere you go. I mean, I don't know, you guys. People are real bold about some of the things they say to our actors online, and I just cannot condone it, and I don't want to participate in it. I mean, you go ahead and walk up to Michelle Stafford or Melody Thomas Scott, and you tell them they have bad hair in person. You see what happens to you. Because I will tell you right now, Michelle Stafford would probably tear you to shreds and you wouldn't know what hit you. People have no problem saying stuff online, but you try to walk up to Michelle Stafford. See what happens. Or Melody Thomas Scott even. I mean, yeah, Nikki's hair was bad. The wig was not good. Phyllis's hair was flat. Chelsea's hair looked frizzy. And Adam looked like he decided to blow dry his hair in a wind tunnel. For the makeup, I'm pretty sure Jack was wearing mascara. But you know what else? Sharon looked freaking unrealistically phenomenal. Amanda was practically glowing. Like, Michelle Morgan knows how to do her makeup. Abby's hair looked better than it normally does. I don't know how she pulled that off. And frankly, I think Nate had some extra sparkle dust coming off of him this week. He must have had some fancy skin toner or something that he used because he looked extra fresh and good smelling. He looked extra good smelling. I'm telling you, if Y&R cannot figure out what to do with Nate, send him to me. I'll put him to work. I'm not contagious, if that's what you're thinking. Who said it? It just seemed like the perfect line going back into Y&R production. I'm not contagious, if that's what you're thinking. It was Neil. Neil is the one who said it. He was in the hospital room, and he was talking to Devon. Devon was kind of hovering outside of the room, and Neil said, no, I'm not contagious, if that's what you're thinking. Come on in and talk to me. Oh, I love that line. Quite a few of you guessed it right. It was Henry, Daisy, Jamie D, Lisa 115, Marianne V, Victoria, and Ambreen. Wow, Jamie and Jamie D got it right. Oh, good job, you guys. How about this line? This feels fun for the week. How about this? I am ready to collect my prize. I feel like my prize is these new episodes. It feels good just to about them. I didn't have to research a thing. I just came online and said, that's my prize, and I'm ready to collect it. Who said it? I'm ready to collect my prize. If you think you know, you can go to yrchat.com to leave your guess, and if you get it right, I will give you your shout out on next week's Y&R Chat. And now let's give you your chance to starting with Sandra, who says Nikki looked gorgeous even if she was wearing a wig. She's beautiful. Honestly, I wasn't trying to dissect each scene and spot the social distancing. If I wasn't trying to dissect each scene and spot the social distancing, I would have thought today's show wouldn't have thought, I can't read today. I'm too Sandra says, honestly, if I wasn't trying to dissect each scene and spot social distancing, I wouldn't have thought that today's show was any different from any other one. I paid attention as Victor pondered out the window, a storm is coming, and I hope it's massive. Oh, Sandra. That scene, Victor saying, a storm is coming and I feel a chill in the air. It was also a little bit cheesy, not gonna lie, but I love that you are being Y&R positive with this comment. I mean, honestly, Sandra, you're giving me the essence of everything that Y&R Chat is supposed to be. Loving of Y&R and of the people who make it happen. I mean, of course, we're gonna rah, rah, rah. Like, that's what we're here to do, but we don't take it out on the actors. That's just terrible. Like, I want to cultivate a community of people who I trust actually support the show, not just complain about it. I mean, you got to throw in some good with the bad. I mean, we don't have to just beat one bad thing into the ground when there are a million other things to be said. I mean, it's so easy to be like flippant and rip on somebody's physical appearance, but what I love about my regular Y&R Chat commenters is that you guys give me thoughtfulness and kindness, and you're original too. And yeah, I mean, honestly, I was expecting to be able to tell, and it took me Monday and Tuesday's episode, I could not tell that it was post-coronavirus production, because I was looking at it and I'm like, oh, when are the actual, this must be an old episode that they had in the bank. And I think Monday was, but Tuesday I watched the whole show, and it wasn't maybe till the end where I was like, you know what, maybe this is post-corona. I honestly couldn't tell. So, I mean, I gotta give big props to Y&R for that. Another nice positive comment here. Leslie says, a favorite part of the return for me was seeing Theo. I forgot how much I enjoy his character and the little mannerisms that I find unique and endearing. Theo was one of the things I missed most of all too, and I'm glad that Theo and Jack made up. I think that's very good. So what were Jack and Victoria up to in those previews? What was up with that? Superplex says, after her PTSD, Victoria was back to her spiteful self. Yes. See, I think that's exactly right, Superplex. I think that's completely true. I think we can probably all see that writing on the wall, right? Victoria is going to go after Adam. She is probably going to talk Billy into publishing some tell-all article on how Adam killed AJ Montalvo as a little boy. And I don't know exactly how that's going to affect Victoria's new friendship with Sharon, since Sharon is about to become Adam's new #1 supporter. But how in the world is telling the world about someone's childhood trauma a good thing? How is that considered okay? How is that considered good journalism? I cannot imagine that Lily is going to be okay with this. I mean, telling everybody about Adam's childhood trauma, I mean, that's just, it is going to ramp up empathy for Adam, which is maybe what the character of Adam needs. But the only thing that this article that I'm assuming is going to come out, the only thing that it accomplishes in my mind is making Victor look bad. Adam was a child. He's not responsible. It was a self-defense situation anyway. But Victor covered up a murder. Oh boy. I mean, does Victoria want to lose her job? Victor still holds sway over who sits in the CEO chair. All she's going to do is accomplish ticking off Victor and making him look bad. Maybe that's what she wants. I don't know. Gary says, I think Sharon and Victoria have an incredible chemistry together. Sharon is so warm and accommodating, and Victoria is so brittle. They just work. Oh, that's so good. Yeah, I guess I hadn't thought of it that way, that Sharon and Victoria are just so opposite that they kind of make good friends. I wouldn't mind seeing Sharon's warmth rub off on Victoria just a little bit, because brittle is the perfect word to describe her. Okay, Diana says, I know this has been mentioned before, but I feel like Y&R has botched the cancer storyline in many ways. When Sharon first learned she had cancer, she was looking in the mirror and putting a scarf around her head. She was mentally preparing herself for hair loss as she imagined how she would look after receiving chemotherapy. Ever since then, we've seen Sharon's hair looking shiny and healthy, as it always does. She has a cancer port in her chest that just disappeared. We've never really seen Sharon feeling the very painful side effects of chemo other than one day of not feeling very well. I can understand Y&R not wanting to make the cancer storyline too dramatic, but at the same time it feels like they're candy coating it too much and underplaying it too much. I think it would have been better if the writers could have made it a little more realistic. Ugh, Diana, Yes, double yes, and I'll take it one step further. I think it's probably a little insulting to anyone who's been through breast cancer to see this as the portrayal. I have not been through breast cancer. I don't know anyone who has. Personally, I've never seen this this disease take a toll on anyone. I've never seen the treatment process. But even as someone who hasn't been through it, who has no experience with it, the whole thing just reeks of disingenuousness. I thought that we were using Sharon's cancer as a vehicle to raise awareness. I was all in for that day one. And now it just seems like they were and are using it to drum up some cheap drama. And that doesn't feel good. That feels icky. Case in point, Gary says, Superplex, look at Sharon, sexing it up for Adam with that exposed navel. Does that shock me? Yes, scandal in the making. And Superplex replies, realistically speaking, who could not help but stare at the naked navel? It sends the message of, there are tantalizing promises hidden underneath. See, this is exactly the point that I'm making. Sharon has cancer. She just got home from surgery. In reality, she would probably feel bloated and gross. And Y&R has her in a belly shirt. She's beautiful. I mean, who wouldn't want to look at her? Gary, Superplex, of course. I mean, like, what you're noticing is that Sharon is beautiful. Who wouldn't want to look at her? But maybe Y&R, could we tone it down with the crop tops while she's recovering from surgery? It's icky. It is a little icky. Or a lot icky. Gary also says, as Mariah and Tessa celebrate Valentine's Day. Haha, Gary. I just have to pause right there because the pink cupcake and the roses, yes. As Mariah and Tessa celebrate Valentine's Day. It's clear that Y&R is focused to put Adam and Sharon back together again. But then I realized Adam is actually in love with Chelsea, the mother of his son. I don't know how Adam's feelings will change. I considered Adam holding on to the idea of him not having killed Mr. X while Chelsea is trying to get him to accept the truth, causing a wedge, but now Adam realizes he did it. But what we may see is Sharon becoming emotionally involved in front of the eyes of Ray again. So that now that the stellar player is off the show, Ray, terrible story. Just so those two real lifers can come out and now make out on screen? No. In the first place, Adam is not an over-sexualized character. It's all a big head trip with him. So how much are the viewers actually going to see? One thing I believe, if Ray dumps Sharon because he feels he has no other choice, and Sharon can't wait to get that overprotective, adoring man out of her hair, then Ray is not sticking around Genoa City for more. He is headed straight out of town. Y&R should only allow that to happen if it's Jordy's choice to go. If he's not important on the canvas, it's because Y&R failed to write him to his best advantage. And Sandra says, yeah, what about Ray? He should have been the one to put Adam in his place, not Nick. That was a missed opportunity for a good standoff. That says it all. I didn't even think of that, but that says it all. I don't know if it's confirmed whether or not Jordy is leaving the show and if Ray's being written off the show, and if so, how. I don't have any confirmation on any of that. For all I know, that is just a rumor. But the fact that it was Nick trying to throw Adam out of the house and not Ray, it's not a good omen. I mean, I don't know, maybe Y&R wouldn't have wanted to show Ray being that aggressive around Sharon and giving her a reason. I mean, after all of the support that Ray has given to Sharon through her cancer, they cannot show her dogging him. So maybe that's why they used Nick to do it. But anyway, you slice it, the writing is on the wall. And Ellen says, shat him. I love you, Ray, but I have waited a long time for this. I'm glad Ray's in the opening credits. They needed to keep him and find him a romance. Yes, I'm getting carried away with this, but I can dream, right? Shat him! Shat him, Ellen says. Just move over Ray. Move over Nick. Shat him. Well, I'm gonna lean on you to give me the pro Adam and Sharon voice. You can be our pro Adam and Sharon voice, because I am totally willing to jump on board. But Y&R this team doesn't do a good job of inching you there. Like, you know, I gotta get there. I gotta get emotionally engaged. I need to have a reason, and I wasn't there before when he came back from Vegas and they tried it, and I just am not there now. I can be convinced. I mean, for crying out loud, I loved Michael Mooney and Sharon Case when it was that Adam and Sharon combination. And I hated Adam! Superplex reminded me a couple of weeks ago how much I hated Adam back in like 2008. I said I hated him and I would never forgive him and I would never like him. And then Flash 2, I don't know, when was it that they were together? 2009, 2010? Somehow Y&R made me love Sharon and Adam with Michael Mooney so much. So much. I mean, it was a feat. And it can happen again, but I mean, the stars have to align. They have to make me want it. They have to do it right, and I'll be there. But I also hate to see Ray just get pushed to the side. Diana says, I would love to see Ray with Victoria, as I've mentioned before. I did like Ray and Sharon, but would be ready for Ray and Victoria to be an item, and Sharon with Adam. Oh, Victoria and Ray is a good idea, because I definitely don't want Billy and Victoria back together at this point after everything that happened there earlier in the year. But Ray and Victoria, maybe that's why Victoria's hanging around the house, because Y&R's thinking about letting Ray and Victoria bump into each other a little more often. Yeah, that would be good. I like your idea, Diana. Maybe that's it. Let's hold out hope. Again, not confirmed. Ray is a good, eligible man. Victoria could use a good, eligible man after her choice in men in the last couple of years has not been too good. Oh, Laura says, okay, I understand you're scared and traumatized, but hold it together, Sharon. Talk to your doctor about your boob scar. Do not bawl your eyes out to your daughter. She is not your friend. She's your daughter. Being strong doesn't mean losing it like you do. This is my English heritage coming to the surface. Carry bloody on, Sharon. Oh my, I guess I didn't think of it that way. Yeah, I think we've seen that as a pattern. Sharon is definitely leaning on Mariah and allowing herself to do that, as opposed to trying to be strong in front of Mariah. Maybe it's that Sharon is trying to be strong in front of Faith, but not as much in front of Mariah because she's grown. But hey, like we said before, just because you're grown doesn't mean your parent isn't your parent and that you don't want to see them being strong. I mean, I don't know, I guess I found it a little touching, but I do subscribe a little bit to that. I mean, I'm not my daughter's friend, I'm her mom. And so I get that, and I could see myself probably more leaning toward wanting to keep things from her and confiding in someone else. I mean, Victoria was there to provide Sharon with an opportunity to talk about her scar. That could have worked too, but good point. And Brini says, it irks me when the scars eventually disappear on characters who are supposed to have them. Adam got shot last year and I didn't see a scar when he was making out with Sharon. Lola and Summer's kidney transplant, Brittany's face, Sharon's port on her chest. Soon her lumpectomy scar will be gone too. But I'm sure it's more work having to remember who has what, and the makeup department has to put it on. That's true. Yeah, I guess maybe because of the makeup department. But even before coronavirus, Sharon's port disappeared and scars disappear a lot. Bold and the Beautiful, I do remember that Heather Tom's Katie had a scar for a long time that they stuck with. She had a heart surgery. She received a heart transplant. And man, they put that scar on her every day. And definitely Y&R has dropped the ball with the scars then and now. Ellen says Nate has a huge crush on Elena. It's going to get messy when Devon starts to have feelings for Amanda/fake Hillary. Oh, Ellen, so you read it completely the other way around. That Nate is developing feelings for Elena. Yes, that might just be it. Because I keep thinking, though, that Y&R is going to stay committed to keeping Elena and Devon together because the show needs to be able to present some real intimacy. But it works. If it's not Elena who's given the love eyes, then it's actually Nate who's giving the love eyes. Maybe Elena was thinking, whoa, is Nate being a little too cozy with me? I don't know, but that's a really interesting way to read it, that Nate has eyes for Elena. Yeah, why didn't I even think of that? Gosh. You know, I just have to say, I think it's a shame if we're tossing characters together just because the actors are together. Sherrod says, it would be great if our soaps could follow the example of the shows that film in Australia and Canada. They have the cast living together, away from others, in a hotel while they're filming, living in a bubble, so to speak. Therefore, they don't have to practice the physical distancing in scenes because they're actually practicing social distancing. I can't believe this, Sherrod. Is this really what they're doing in other countries? This is so genius. It's Big Brother. Big Brother is going on now. They just took their cast, quarantined them for, I think, maybe 3 weeks, tested, and then put everybody into the Big Brother house. I mean, and they're kind of just in this quarantine, and they're able to be inside with no masks, no social distancing. It's just Big Brother as usual. So this is something I never would have thought of, taking your key cast characters and putting them into a hotel, a house or something together, and then just letting them film the scenes. I know that would be difficult on the actors and their families, but I bet there's some people who want to work and would be willing to do it. I mean, shoot, you could film a whole second show. You could film the Y&R cast house and get a second show out of it and really drum up some media for the show. I mean, that would get some hype going. I mean, that is just a really incredible idea. And there's a lot of actors who want to work right now. I think that could be great. You could go into the quarantine, film out your episodes, and bang them out. You could not only create a little bit more of a buffer, but let's say you go in and you do that for 3 months. Well, then maybe you could take the next 6 months off or something. So I love that idea. I actually think that would be a really interesting way to work around it. Who knows? Maybe they will take that into consideration. Well, let's talk about the classic episodes. Last week I asked you guys if you were overall happy with Y&R's classic episode presentation. Did you like what Y&R gave us in the gap? Pretty wide majority of people thought Y&R did a good job with it. 84% liked what Y&R put together for us. MGHC04 says, loved seeing Catherine again on screen, especially her plastic surgery episode. I also thought it was great seeing the first episode so you could see Stuart Brooks and make that connection to Theo. It was also fantastic how they showed some of Michael's development from busting through an apartment wall to a polished attorney. Victoria says, overall, I enjoyed seeing the classic episodes. The sets were more intricate and the writing was tighter and moved the story forward. In many of the classic episodes, events happened for a reason, not as in the current storylines where we wonder, where did this come from? Such as Kyle wanting to end his marriage to Lola. Yeah, I think it's slower. It was slower. And you know what, there's a lot to be said for the fast pace. I have to say, I liked being able to just buzz through the episodes this week, but the slower pace gave us more time to ease into a story. You're mentioning Kyle just deciding he's not in love with Lola and deciding to go back to Summer. That's a perfect example. And I fear that what they're doing with Adam and Sharon right now is going to be another victim of that. But Ellen says, the nostalgia was fun, but the choppy presentation that jumped all over the place from day to day was terrible. Soaps are all about storytelling and continuity. I would have much preferred sequences of episodes from different eras that told a full story, not single episodes plucked out of context. I'm glad it's over, at least for now. I'm glad glad it's over for now too. I mean, even though I'm having a lot of fun just opinioning, I think it's this week. I think it's mostly because I just missed being able to do that. I mean, all of the classic episode presentations for me involved so much more research, and it was much more of a report. This is just a little bit more fun to just rawr at it. So that's, I think, maybe why I'm enjoying the new episodes now. But I like your thought about maybe putting together a classic story and showing the continuity. I mean, if they're going back in and editing episodes for time anyway, why not? Why not pluck some scenes and show them in a row so that you get an essence of that classic story as opposed to just a bunch of different episodes from a bunch of different eras? I think they were worried about losing people. I think they were trying to get a variety of episodes, knowing that not everybody's watching for continuity right now. People might just be at home watching an episode, or a lot of people honestly dipped out on the classics. I have seen a lot of Y&R chatters coming back to Y&R Chat over the course of this past week who just weren't watching the classic episodes and are coming back for the news. So I think Y&R was probably worried about losing people, and they were just throwing episodes at the wall, hoping to catch somebody with something and get some ratings on that day. Oh my, Ambrini says, do you guys know that Doug Davidson is off contract now? He mentioned it on Twitter and is sad about it. I don't see how Christine and Paul can have a storyline now. And Daisy says that Doug said on Twitter, and by the way, this the date of the tweet is August 13th. Doug said on Twitter that his contract was terminated. It's interesting that they've done this after Lee Bell died. I'm hoping, though, that his character will end up on another show, but right now it looks like they're throwing a great actor away rather than taking the time to write his character a great story. I wonder what this means for Laura Lee Bell. Ugh, so, no way. All right, Y&R's in contract negotiation to bring Danny and Patty back on the show, but not Paul? I don't know, there's got to be something more to it. I think, I don't know, maybe the contract that Doug Davidson had that was current and long-term, maybe that got canceled, but maybe there's somewhere in the fine details and that there's an option to bring him back for stories as the storyline dictates. I don't know. That is very sad. But I mean, I know that I would rather see Paul with a story that has a purpose rather than just like having him on contract and popping him into a scene that's kind of meaningless. I mean, I'd rather see Paul and actually get something meaningful from Paul than have Paul just wandering around in the background saying, will somebody please tell me what's going on? Oh boy, my Y&R chat friends. It's so good to hear from you guys this week. I hope nobody takes anything wrong that I said, or don't take it wrong what I said about people sounding off at the website. That's what it's there for. It just, you guys just don't see the back end of it, where it's like, oh, now I have to see all of these negative comments coming in about people that I respect and that I think should be respected and who I think deserve the respect. You know, I mean, it's like, it's just, I'm dealing with some general public, and if I'm dealing with that, I just cannot imagine what it's like for the actors to deal with that. But I mean, the majority of the Y&R chatters, everybody whose comments I'm reading here, I mean, consistently, you guys are, you make my life. You make all of this meaningful and worth doing. So I hope you know that I love your comments and I welcome them, whether they're, you know, positive or negative. Y'all have proven yourself. It kills me, like some of these angry internet comments. I mean, I can't, this is exactly why I don't use Twitter. I don't use Facebook. I don't use Instagram, and my generation does. I have everybody else in my generation, everybody else that I know uses social media. Even my parents, well, not my dad, but my mom uses Facebook. People love it. But I started to catch on maybe like 5-7 years ago that this is toxic. Something's not right here. Something's not real here, and I don't want to participate in it, nor do I want to open myself up to the slings and arrows. I mean, believe me, that's why I really, really value and like being at yrchat.com, because it takes an extra step to get there. I do not need to see people ripping on me on a daily basis. And because I get it, I mean, these videos go out onto YouTube and the podcasts go out into the sphere, and it doesn't take anything for 1 second. Somebody never even saw Y&R a single day and just comes on and is like, you're ugly, what's wrong with your face, you know? And I cannot absorb it, because I don't want to absorb anything that makes me not want to do this, so I don't even look at it. So I kind of respect Michelle Stafford for saying, I'm out, I'm done. I mean, she's got a public job, so it's maybe a whole different gig for her. I'm just doing this because I love Y&R. There's no ads at yrchat.com. I don't make a dime. I pay for all of this. I mean, shoot, I've sunk so much money into Y&R Chat over the 12 years that I've been doing this. I promise you that I have no motive whatsoever. My only motive is that I love Y&R, and I want to talk about Y&R, and I could do that anywhere. I could go to any Y&R website and see people ripping on the actors and actresses, but I want to talk about Y&R in a way that is more positive and loving of the show, and you guys are what allow me to do that. I mean, after 12 years, Y&R Chat's not all that big, and it's kind of intentional. Like, I don't go out of my way to tell anybody about it. I mean, maybe at the beginning I tried to promote it a little bit just because I was trying to get it started, but I mean, now I don't do nothing. I don't post it to Facebook or Twitter or any of that stuff. I just feel like the cool people who are looking for something a little different in terms of a Y&R recap, hopefully they'll find me and they'll like what I'm putting out, and we can all kind of just chat together. So I mean, that's the reason why I really like and appreciate you guys for sticking with me and continuing to contribute, because it's what's keeping me going, and it really adds to my enjoyment of the show, and I really hope that I add to your enjoyment of it too. I'm so glad we're back. I really am. The classic episodes in my heart, I feel like, are better written. I really do, but I'm really glad we're back. I still have appreciated the new episodes so much. I mean, I feel like I'm back in my old groove. I'm nervous that something is going to rock that. I'm nervous that the new episodes are going to go away, but I like my routine where it's like I'm just sitting down and watching Y&R, I'm buzzing through, bing, bing, bang, boom, a little something here and there going on that I can just latch onto and make a joke about. That's fun. That's fun to me. This is all part of my experience, and once again, thank you for being here. I hope you come back next week and help me continue to have a good conversation, hopefully a funny conversation, hopefully a thoughtful conversation about the show. Okay, you guys, have a good one. I love ya. Bye.